everyone, it's Amber Romanik with Amber, approved your leading health food expert. Today I'm going to be talking about signs of an unhealthy relationship with food. So there may be many different things that could be going on that could be big red flags that you have an unhealthy relationship with food, your body, or both, which is generally what I see when I'm working with someone and generally what you're going to hear me talking about in the podcast, especially the episode coming out on Sunday, which is episode 77. So some of the most common things that I'll see in an unhealthy relationship with food, and I saw this in myself, in fact, because I struggled with the food addiction and I went through that for a few years, and it really inspired me to want to make the changes. And now, obviously, being an expert in the field of emotional eating and food addictions and helping other people to overcome their struggles and have freedom, it's really easy to spot and see what the struggles are. So it doesn't really matter whether you're emotional eating and you're eating for stressors or boredom or happiness or because there's nothing else to do. For some people, you might be binge eating, so you're binging on a bunch of different foods all at once, or you have a full-blown food addiction, and this is where essentially you have no control around food no matter where you are, what you're doing. You're obsessed about food, you're thinking about it all the time, and you literally lose control all the time. And I pretty much had all of the above, so it's a bit different for everyone, but I want to go through some of the key things. So you obsess about food, you think about it all the time, you count calories, you always want to be in control. You fear food as well, I find is another one. So it's like if you go to a party and there's different things that you're not supposed to eat or you're not allowing yourself to have, you actually fear going or you fear being around that food for fear you're going to give in and have it and lose control. We end up using food for everything except for just nourishing the body. So fear, boredom, guilt, anger, sadness, a bad day, a happy day, maybe something great happened. But I find when we're using food for everything except for nourishing the body to feel good, that's also a big red flag when it comes to emotional eating or a food addiction. We use food also to distract ourselves from feeling our emotions, dealing with certain situations, or to numb ourselves from our reality because we hate feeling uncomfortable. So what do? We distract ourselves by eating in order to suppress the feelings or the situation and make it not feel so bad, of course, until we're done eating, and then usually we feel more frustrated, more hate for ourselves, more guilt, stomach aches, cravings, and it just seems to get worse instead of actually resolving. It doesn't resolve the situation at all. You probably have cravings for sweets, for crunchy foods, for baked goods, for creamy foods. I find when we have an unhealthy relationship with food, we will have bigger cravings because we're either fully depriving ourselves, we're obsessing and fantasizing about foods, or we're binging and eating them, which makes cravings bigger and increases our appetite levels. I also find there's a lack of control around food. So it's like once you start eating something, you can't stop. So it's almost like you have a little bit and it excites the parts of the brain that produce this serotonin and dopamine, which are the feel-good neurotransmitters that make us happy. So we eat that sugar, we eat whatever that is, and you feel good, and then you completely lose control. Maybe you promised yourself you'd only have a little bit, and the next thing you know, you've eaten the whole thing of ice cream, or you've eaten a couple of chocolate bars instead of just wanting to have a couple of pieces, and you feel so frustrated because you lost control. One of the other biggest reasons why I see people, having this troublesome relationship with food in their body is they think they have to eat perfectly to lose weight, have the perfect body, have the happy, perfect life, but actually this has nothing to do with it. Body connection and going through overcoming the emotional eating and the unhealthy relationship with food is what's going to fulfill. But the problem is they'll have to be perfect, and then if they have one little thing that derails, this completely throws the person off track, and then they're like, screw it, I had one thing, I'm just going to keep going for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of the month. And then we go from that all-in mentality to all or nothing, so nothing mentality, off the rails. So essentially from perfect to not perfect, and there's no balance, and that is not healthy, and it's not realistic, and it doesn't work. So if you are struggling, definitely shoot me an email at info@amberapproved.ca. Why? Because we can explore booking you a 30-minute complimentary consultation to explore your concerns, fears, and your health goals. You can also check out episode 77 of the No Sugarcoating podcast coming out this Sunday that will be chatting more about this plus my story of my food addiction and why you should take action. You can also subscribe on iTunes and check out amberapproved.ca for much more. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I will chat with you next week. Posting videos on Friday. Stay tuned. Happy Friday.